If you're running a standalone ESXi host without vCenter, you are officially trapped by VMware's new licensing. Worse yet, almost every free migration utility on the market strictly requires vCenter to move your workloads, causing your migration jobs to fail instantly. But today, we are bypassing vCenter entirely. In this video, we are migrating a production virtual machine directly over the network into Windows Server 2025 Hyper-V completely for free. No license keys, no certificate traps, and zero configuration headaches. Let's jump straight into the lab. Before we move a single block of data, let's lay out our environment so you can mirror this workflow exactly in your own corporate lab or home testbed. To make tracking our inventory foolproof on camera, I've organized our network structure into a clean, sequential IP layout. First, at 192.168.124.10, we have our infrastructure orchestrator. This is a clean Windows deployment where we will install our lightweight converter console so our production hypervisors don't experience raw processor overhead during the encoding job. Second, at 192.168.124.20, we have our target Hyper-V host running the latest edition of Windows Server 2025. Third, at 192.168.124.30 sits our legacy, standalone VMware ESXi 8.0 host. Inside this standalone server, we have our nested production workload with a static IP of 192.168.124.100. This is the exact VM we are going to free over the network. Now, if you are replicating this setup using virtual machines in VMware Workstation, pay close attention to this vital step. You must shut down both your Hyper-V and ESXi host VMs, navigate to their processor settings, and enable nested virtualization. Without enabling this nested hardware pass-through, neither ESXi nor Windows Server will allow hypervisor engines to run inside them. Let's configure our destination. Hypervisor target at 192.168.124.20. Before we make any infrastructure changes, we need absolute certainty that our underlying Windows Server 2025 system has successfully initialized the bare metal virtualization engine and loaded its core administration components. To check if Hyper-V is fully installed and active right now, type this quick query command directly into your privileged terminal. Hit Enter. If the console returns a status explicitly marked as running, our background virtual machine management service is alive and healthy, meaning our hypervisor is actively listening for deployment calls. Now, we need to create an external virtual switch. Click on your Windows Start menu, type Hyper-V Manager, and open the Desktop Management Console applet. On the right-hand Actions sidebar panel, click on Virtual Switch Manager. From the selection type list, highlight External Network and click Create Virtual Switch. Under our Parameter Properties window layout, name this network bridge Production-VNet. Under the Connection drop-down field, ensure it maps straight to your active hardware network interface card handling your 192.168.124.x traffic fabric, and make sure the box labeled Allow Management Operating System to share this network adapter is checked. Click Apply, accept the brief network disruption warning prompt, and hit OK. With our host prepared, we need a way to move our data without relying on a missing vCenter orchestrator layer. To do this, we are deploying a completely free, industry-standard tool on our management workstation, StarWind Virtual to Virtual Converter. Once the application launches, our source selection layout is simple. We select VMware ESXi Server or vCenter as our starting point and hit Next. In the connection interface fields, type in our standalone host IP, 192.168.124.30. Enter the administrative username as root. Supply the root account password and click Next. Look at that. StarWind completely bypassed the standard enterprise prerequisites and queried our standalone hardware engine directly. From the populated data store inventory, highlight our target 192.168.124.100 Windows Server workload and hit Next. Now, you'll spot a settings panel titled VSS Synchronization. This is a powerful volume shadow copy feature designed to freeze write operations on heavy production databases like SQL or Exchange, so that active block configurations don't corrupt over the wire. However, since we took a pro-tip backup measure and uninstalled VMware tools from our target workload beforehand to avoid driver boot loop traps, our VM is idle. We can leave this option unchecked and push straight forward. When the wizard prompts for our destination image location, select Microsoft Hyper-V Server and click Next. Input our target host IP address, 192.168.124.20. Type our host credential, logins as administrator, and hit Next. On this final parameter confirmation window, we need to handle a crucial engineering checkpoint. Under the Virtual Machine Generation Layout toggle, select Generation 2. Selecting Generation 2 is mandatory for modern operating systems to ensure native secure UEFI boot code. Compliance is maintained. Finally, link the virtual adapter drop-down field right to our pre-built production VNet switch end. For the virtual machine folder storage location, click Browse, navigate to the Hyper-V folder on the C drive of the Microsoft Hyper-V server target, and then select the VMS folder and click Convert. As that real-time progress track ticks up, StarWind is reading the raw.vmdk disk sectors directly from the ESXi host, translating the storage geometry arrays on the fly, and compiling them into hypervisor-ready.vhdx blocks straight into our target environment pool. The conversion utility has completed with a clean success log. Let's switch back over to our target Windows Server hypervisor at 192.168.124.20 to witness the ultimate proof of life. Look at our central virtual machine inventory tree. Our migrated workload is sitting natively right there in our console array. Let's right-click the VM. Select Connect to open the Virtual Display Console interface. Hit the Start Power button. OS will loads up smoothly to the active Windows interface. Let's log in. Spin up a clean command prompt terminal and execute a live network verification mapping test. Ping 192.168.124.10. There it is. Crisp, successful reply packets echoing right back from our orchestrator node across our production VNet network infrastructure interface. Our static IP configuration layer is completely preserved. Our storage formatting is clean, and we successfully bypassed vCenter licensing loops using a bulletproof workaround that didn't cost a single dime. If this step-by-step lab walkthrough saved your standalone infrastructure from licensing panic, make sure to give this video a like and check out my full step-by-step optimization guides linked right down below. I'll see you in the next tutorial.